and roll Chicago.
Hey, it's Ray and Mike, and we got some great information for you.
Yeah, we just wanted to remind you about the fundraiser for the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, which is taking place on October 27th at the Renaissance Center in downtown Joliet.
You'll be able to get tickets at Cadillac Groove shows. If you see Mike or myself somewhere, we'll have tickets. You can get them at the museum. They're only $5.
Also at CadillacGroove.com, you will be able to purchase them online as well.
Very good.
They're going to cost you $5 a ticket. There's going to be a $10 cover charge to get in the day of the event. And for your $10, we will give you 2 more additional tickets as well as some Cadillac Groove swag. And the lucky grand prize winner will win the band Cadillac Groove.
And winner must be present to win. So remember that.
And Cadillac Groove will play for whatever event it is that you would like for us to play for. You know, conditions do apply.
That's true.
We do have
so
to
get
say
out
that.
there and get your tickets right away.
Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Hey, everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is one very excited Hollywood Mike.
You are
I am
excited.
very excited. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
You came hopping in here like you were the Easter Bunny or something. I was like, what the hell's going on with this guy?
That was my corns acting. I was just kind of
Corns. Who gets Did you get some Zinno pads?
Yeah, who gets corns, you know, or a hammer toe or something like that? I've seen all that stuff. That's kind of gross, man.
It is gross. It is gross.
You know, I like to watch those. I like to watch those surgeries where they dig ingrown toenails out of people. So that's just disgusting.
I see. I mean, coming from a medical background as a paramedic, anything to do with the eyes just freaked me out. I could not. I could see a guts hanging out. It didn't bother me. Bones sticking out. But boy, when I something with the eye,
see an eyeball hanging out of a socket or something like that. I was an anatomy and physiology major. When I started, you know, there was a body, a cadaver laying on a table, right, and we had to dissect it. So by the time I graduated from college, we pretty much had just a rib cage left, right, and that doesn't bother me at all, but. To see that procedure to dig an ingrown toenail out of somebody's toe just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh, God.
I don't know what it is about that.
So tell me, why are you in such a jovial mood?
I am excited tonight because we have a gentleman in the studio who I refer to as, on this show, I've even referred to him as my own personal JJ Cale. Mm-hmm. We have here Mr. Joe Leja, everybody. He's here today.
Hey, Joe.
And hi, thanks for having me.
Let me tell you, he is a fantastic songwriter. He really is. And he writes things that are kind of like something that JJ Cale would write. Okay. And he's got a number of songs that I absolutely love. I've actually performed a couple of his songs with his permission in acoustic solo shows and everything. And every time he comes out to the jam, I like to hang out with him and play with him. And, I'm excited.
Always happy to have you on board.
I'm happy to have him here. I can't wait to have this conversation. How you doing?
You and Jerome and Mike back in the last Sunday when I was out there. Everybody sounded great, and I was happy to. I was starting to take my guitar off already, and Mike stopped. He's like, "Wait, hold on." Someone requested Pink Houses, John Mellencamp. Right. He goes, "Do you know?" I guess you just knew it, but nobody wanted to sing it, or
no, it's never been requested before. Somebody came up and they actually put money in the tip jar.
So he asked if
you must do it.
So he asked if I knew it, and I was like, "Why? Yes, I do."
yeah. And you need an acoustic guitar in that song. It was absolutely perfect that Joe knew how to play the song, and Andy knew enough and everything. So we pulled off little Pink Houses.
I do try to split. Whether it's open mic or, I occasionally get a show booked. I try to split the originals and covers. I think when people are out at a bar, they want to hear some stuff they're familiar with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Although I do get a pretty good response on the originals, so I'm grateful for that.
And that's because, I'll tell you, when you play your original songs, it reminds me of an interview that I saw with Billy Joel years and years ago. It was kind of like it was one of these things on like like Channel 11 here. For people around the country, around the world, it's like their public broadcasting or whatever it is. And it was one of these like live by request type shows, I think it was. And he was talking about how, he wanted to write a song that sounded like a Gordon Lightfoot song. And so he wrote this particular song and he plays one of his hits and you're like, oh yeah, I never thought about it before, but that song does sound like a Gordon Lightfoot song. A lot of your songs remind me of the same thing. Like the song that I tell you all the time, it sounds like a sea shanty to me.
Yes. I love that.
Which one is that? That's
Still Drifting Away.
So Drifting Away, right. That sounds like a Gordon Lightfoot song to me. That sounds like what's his song? The Edmund Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that one, right?
Hey, I'm excited. I've been doing some open mics. Do you know Kiki?
Oh yeah.
So we're rehearsing and learning each other's songs.
Nice.
And she's learning some harmonies and some picking on Still Drifting Away. And
right.
Sounds really good so far.
Let me tell you, that's somebody else that has come a long way.
Yep.
I remember the first day she stepped foot into the studio and had her guitar, and she was so nervous. Her fingers were shaking. She could barely fret the notes on a guitar. And she really didn't even have a strum pattern down. She was just kind of, plinking with her thumb. And now she's out there doing this stuff by herself. And it's like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
So she told me recently that the first open mic she did, she actually shushed the crowd.
She did.
She goes, I didn't. She's like, I didn't know. Well, the night she told me that, Stevie Schmigan walks in. He looks at her. He goes, "You're the girl that shushed the crowd."
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You know what? I caught her one time as well. It was a packed house, and people are talking. A lot of times when you're out, the entertainment up there is pretty much like an ambient jukebox, right? And she gets up there and I saw the look on her face. I saw it coming. And then she started into, let me tell you about the performers up here. And I went, nope. I'm going to save you from yourself. I love you. I'm going to save you from yourself. But yeah, let's just play.
But she's really, she's got a wonderful voice. She reminds me of Macy Gray.
Yes. Yeah.
She's got that smoky voice, and I'm having fun. She's learning some of my songs. I'm learning some of her stuff.
Wow.
And it's been a lot of fun the last month, maybe last month.
Oh, heck, you should have brought her along with.
I even brought her. I even accompanied her. I brought my mandolin to Black Dog one night and accompanied her on one of her songs on the mandolin.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We got to figure out what your name is going to be, what your little duet name is going to be. Jokey. There you go. I don't know. We got to figure it out. No, but I love her. She's great. I'm glad you guys are doing that. So,
and you know Wesley, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So he dubbed me Mighty Joe.
There you go.
And I love that. I think it's arrogant for me to call myself that, though. It's okay if he wants to call me that or anybody else. I feel it's too arrogant to say, oh, yeah, I'm Mighty Joe,
Well, yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname, but if somebody else gives you the nickname, it's perfectly acceptable. Yeah. So so we're going to stop ourselves before we get too ahead, right? Because I've been seeing stuff on your Facebook page. You and I have known each other for quite a few years.
Several years already.
And I've seen, you've recorded several albums worth of material, and you've been doing that for quite a while. So take us all back. Tell everybody, how young Joe decided he was going to start playing guitar and writing songs and everything.
I started playing probably 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
Pretty bad at the start,
Wow.
But I started writing songs. As soon as I learned a few chords, I was already trying to write songs. I probably should have learned to play a little better first. Kind of didn't go anywhere until around late 80s, early 90s at a Tascam analog 4-track recorder.
Yep.
And started recording a bunch of demos of my stuff. And I want to say, you always build me up, and I appreciate that about being such a great songwriter. you never heard the ones that I keep hidden, because there's plenty of clunkers, I guarantee.
Oh, everybody's got that.
Nobody should ever hear these.
You have to, though. Every songwriter has a bunch of clunkers. You have to. Yeah, you have to finish every song. That's my philosophy. Even if you get halfway through it and you realize that it sucks, you have to finish it. and just put it in a box where nobody has to hear it ever again. But you have to finish it. Yeah.
and I like to tell the story. I did a songwriter showcase last Thursday at Black Dog, so I played these two songs back to back. You're familiar with Old and Broken Down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I literally wrote that driving home from work one day, wrote the lyrics in a half an hour.
Yeah.
I still had to put it to music after that, but I never revised the lyrics. That's what I came up with driving home from work. I got home, my neighbors were out in the cul-de-sac. It's kind of like King of the Hill. Yeah. We'd all be out there drinking beers. Hey, Joe, come on, have a beer. I can't. I got to go in. I got to write this down. And I'm so thankful I did, because if I would have went and had a couple beers, I would have forgot the song. And that's probably one of my better, people that know me will ask me to play it.
Right. Yeah.
That and Arizona Drifter.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad you explained that, because I was about to do a public service announcement saying that the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not condone you writing songs while you're driving home from work. You should keep both hands on the wheels.
Well, I mean, I was writing them in my head. I didn't have pencil and paper.
Right.
But that's why I couldn't stop and have a beer with the neighbors, because it was all up in my head. And I'm like, man, I got to go write this all down.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only time I wrote something that not a single rewrite. Now, conversely, and I played this next at the showcase, it's a song called Kindred Spirit.
Yeah.
That took me 4 years of just constant rewriting and rewriting. I just couldn't get happy with the lyrics. Just sounded stiff and awkward, and took me 4 years till I was finally happy with it.
It happens, yeah.
So
I've got an idea, and I will direct the music video for Old and Broken Down, because I know the song well enough to know what the song is about. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you mentioned that you wrote it driving home from work, the music video needs to be you on the side of the road with the hood up, right? There's steam and everything coming out of your engine. You're singing the song Old and Broken Down, but I ain't dead yet. And right. And the line in the song about pretty girls won't talk to you and stuff like that. Well, who comes to your rescue but just a smoking hot tow truck driver?
I like that idea.
That's a great.
I like that idea.
That's the music video, I think. And you've got a friend that you could probably employ to play the smoking hot tow truck driver, because she's on like most of his album covers too.
She's only on one.
One, yeah, wearing a black leather miniskirt dress. So that's I mean. That works. Resume fulfilled. Yeah.
When do we start filming?
Yeah. We can. We totally could do that here. Yeah. No, that's actually one of my favorite songs as well. So he plays that one a lot of jams as well.
And that's actually, the chord arrangement is pretty easy. Like if Jerome knows my songs,
right?
But if there's somebody there that doesn't know them, it's easy for someone to pick up on it real fast.
Right. Well, what I find so unique about your music, and we're gonna, in a few minutes here, we're gonna let the listeners, hear a few of them. But your chord progressions are basic. I mean, and I don't mean that as an insult. They're perfect. Right. But exactly where to throw in a minor chord or some type of an augmented
the
chord,
new one
or something like that. And it just all of a sudden changes the entire, tone or feel of the song. It certainly changes the way a lead guitar player is going to, write the lead, solo or play leads to it as well. The way the bass player is going to come in and put a bass line to it, because even something as simple as a basic blues progression, you'll make one of those chords just slightly different than what it should be.
I like to play a lot of sevenths.
And it just changes the whole feel of the song. It really does. So I find it very interesting. This is one of these interviews where I would prefer to hear him sing and play than ask him questions.
Okay, well, why don't we take a little break and come back and hear something?
We're going to get them all set up.
Alrighty, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Rock and Roll Chicago.
Hey, it's Ray and Mike, and we got some great information for you.
Yeah, we just wanted to remind you about the fundraiser for the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, which is taking place on October 27th at the Renaissance Center in downtown Joliet.
You'll be able to get tickets at Cadillac Groove shows. If you see Mike or myself somewhere, we'll have tickets. You can get them at the museum. They're only $5.
Also at CadillacGroove.com, you will be able to purchase them online as well.
Very good.
They're going to cost you $5 a ticket. There's going to be a $10 cover charge to get in the day of the event. And for your $10, we will give you 2 more additional tickets, as well as some Cadillac Groove swag. And the lucky grand prize winner will win the band Cadillac Groove.
And winner must be present to win. So remember that.
And Cadillac Groove will play for whatever event it is that you would like for us to play for. You know, conditions do apply.
That's true.
We do have
so
to
get
say
out
that.
there and get your tickets right away.
We're rolling.
And when we're at the studio for open mic, Mike usually puts down some tasty guitar solos on my songs, and I always appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'm not a soloist.
This is
I'm the singer songwriter. That's my niche.
One of these days, you and I are going to get together and we're going to just work on these together. So when we do it, it's going to be more, instead of improvising all the time, we're going to have something steady. But this song that he's about to play, it's called Arizona Drifter. And this is the first song that I heard that I just loved. And this is the song that I've done in my own solo shows.
Okay.
I love this song. For the first time tonight, here's Joe Leja.
Benson was a name on the sign as I rode into town. 3 gunmen came looking for me, so I shot them down. Arizona drifter, I'm on gun for hire. When I see the whites of their eyes, I'll buy a Arizona drifter. Baby, I'll see you in hell. The next day the sheriff called on me. I got a job for you. They should name this town hypocrisy. Give the devil his due. Arizona drifter, I'm on gun for hire. When I see the whites of their eyes, I'll buy a Arizona drifter. Baby, I'll see you in hell. Time has come to pay for your sins. The river will run red. The ends never justify the means. We all wind up dead. Arizona drifter, I'm on gun for hire. When I see the whites of their eyes, I'll buy a Arizona drifter. Baby, I'll see you in hell.
Little outlaw country song right there. I absolutely love that song.
Yeah, I'm not going to Arizona.
Yeah.
I believe that's actually when I was going into a studio, that was the very first song I recorded.
Yeah.
10 years ago already.
Wow. Yeah. And like you said, when we get the guys over at the studio, and sometimes we've had a trumpet on it at one point in time. And I believe it was Jeff Choate that put in almost like a Spanish sounding trumpet along with that.
A little spaghetti Western
yeah,
style.
that's exactly what it was. Everybody loves playing the song. See what I mean by, he's just like, everybody gets inspired by the music that he writes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it sounds like a song from like Fistful of Dollars. Right. like that song right there. We played it where it sounds like an old Clint Eastwood movie. And sometimes we played it where there's a little more rock and roll to it and everything. But yeah, 10 years ago, you wrote that one.
Well, I wrote it around 1990. I recorded it 10 years ago.
Wow. No kidding.
So
yeah.
So you've got an album out or a couple albums? Or?
5 CDs, and the 5th one I did digital only.
Okay.
I was starting to spend too much money on the CDs, and the kids don't buy CDs nowadays.
Yeah.
It's either streaming or they go back and get into vinyl.
Right.
They don't even know what a CD is.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any of the do you have the tracks left over for those albums? Something that you can convert to digital and make them available?
They are available on streaming services.
Oh, okay.
I went through CD Baby, and they distribute it to all the various iTunes, Spotify. They got a whole shitload of lesser services.
Right.
I just did the new song with Gary Victorine.
Okay, yeah.
And I just put that up on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Kind of going the cheap way out.
Yeah, right. Gary Victorine, the pedal steel player from the hat that he's wearing, the Trailer Park Twisters.
Oh,
yeah.
Thought maybe he founded Listerine.
No.
One of the premier pedal steel players in the Midwest.
Yeah, he's
one of the best.
He's very good. Yeah, we should actually have those guys out here.
Should.
Yeah.
Before I met him, when I was recording, there's another guy, and Gary knows him, Rich Koch.
Yeah.
I've had him play pedal steel on a few of my songs.
Right.
And he's also very, those are two of the best.
Yeah.
So,
not a lot of pedal steel players out there.
No, it's not a common.
You tend to, when you hear of them, you know who they are.
Yeah.
So the fact that, they know each other, and, I have had both of them play on my songs now. So.
Right. Which is pretty cool. How many songs do you have out there?
Legitimate recordings out, for sale, about 3 dozen songs.
Okay. All right. But how many do you think that you've written over your lifetime?
Probably close to 200.
Okay.
Well, like I said, a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
That I would never even waste time or money recording them,
But you have to go, through the process.
But that's also, it's like anything else. So this song stunk, but it's still practice. And I believe it's like anything else. The more you do something, the easier it would start getting.
Right.
But then I stopped for a long time, and now I'm trying to get going again.
Yeah. I've written songs before that I thought, man, this song stinks. Right. But for some reason I liked it, but I didn't think it was a very good song. And it wasn't, the song didn't stink because I thought it was a bad song. It stunk because, okay, maybe I'm using chords that I normally don't use. Maybe I'm singing in a key that I don't really, sing in regularly, right? And over time, it got better and better and better to the point where it was like, well, actually, this is a pretty good song. And it was really my being uncomfortable with the music and the way I was playing it and the way I was singing it, not necessarily the chord structure and the lyrics to the song and everything. So what's your process? When you sit down to write a song, what's coming first?
There's no set. Sometimes I start with lyrics. Sometimes I have a musical idea. And I think that's harder to do the music first and then try to fit lyrics to it. Mm-hmm. I think it's better to have the lyrics first, but I've done them both ways.
Right.
So there's no secret formula.
Mm-hmm. When you add in the minor seventh chords and, all this other stuff that we talked about earlier, you don't really have a music theory background. Is it something that just happens or have you got to the point where I think I'm going to put a minor seventh in here?
I go with what I think is going to sound good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're a true by ear player, which I like.
You had mentioned to me once, that some of my chord structures are not usual.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably because I am self-taught, so I don't follow any formula.
Yeah.
If I want to throw some odd chord in or do an odd progression, it's like, hey, it's my song. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's like the old saying, well, why'd you do it? Well, nobody told me I couldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm Christy from Crime Cave Podcast. I've had a huge interest in true crime since my days of watching marathons of Snapped back in the mid-90s. I needed an outlet to talk about the cases that have haunted me for a very long time. With each episode under 20 minutes, I shine a light on some of the most bizarre cases in the last 50 years. Join me in The Crime Cave.
Hi, I'm Rick Anthony. I'd like to thank my radio brothers, Ray the Roadie and Hollywood Mike, for allowing me to tell you about my podcast, the Someone You Should Know podcast. We spotlight musicians, authors, and interesting people, and we like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. The podcast is heard twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and you can check it out on your favorite streaming platforms and on the web at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast.com. That's the Someone You Should Know podcast with me, Rick Anthony. Making a difference, one artist at a time.
Yeah. So were you born and raised here in the area around Joliet?
I was born and raised in Chicago by Midway Airport.
Okay.
55th Street side by St. Camilla's Church.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So what led you to your particular style then? Because you've got kind of an Americana type country kind of style. What led you to that?
Well, not the only influence, but probably my biggest influence was John Fogarty and Creedence Clearwater.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I think you may hear a lot of that in a lot of my songs.
Most definitely. Yeah.
I loved his music. I love a lot of the solo stuff he's still doing.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, and he has a good guitarist. He's a good soloist when he wants to be. But a lot of their songs don't even have guitar solos in them.
They don't.
And when I was first learning how to play, that made it easier. Like, I don't have to try to do a solo in this.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So
that was the unique thing about them, actually, because technically there wasn't a guitar solo, but he was such a good rhythm guitar player that he would put little licks into his rhythm, it sounded like he was playing a solo, but he really wasn't. Yeah, that was interesting about his playing for sure.
Yeah, Bad Moon Rising, the solo on that, he's just kind of playing the chord. Instead of playing the rhythm, the chords like open, he's playing like...
Right. Which kind of gives it that lead guitar kind of feel to it.
Just doing a little...
Yeah,
but that's all just basically a chord and just noodling around with it.
Yeah. Right.
So he does do a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. It makes it easy for those of us, like you said, who are self-taught, who we play what we play because we don't know any better. I'm in that category myself. I was just having that conversation with somebody and I can't remember who it was. They asked me, how much, music theory do you have? I go, none. Music theory. I mean, I had other things going on in college. I wasn't a music major or anything. Well, how do you know what to play? I was, I took organ lessons as a kid. I can read music. I can certainly read me. Put sheet music in front of me. I can read it. I can tell you what these notes are and these timings are, and I can do all that stuff. When I'm sitting on stage playing, I'm not thinking about, okay, I'm going to throw in an augmented seventh chord here because music theory says I can do this. Bullshit. Yeah, I don't. I mean, nobody who does that. I don't do that.
And I mean, I've picked up a little stuff along the way. I kind of I hear the blues guys, on stage will be key blues in A 1, 3, 5. Well, right. I think that means those are the major chords in that key 1, 3, and 5, or A would probably be A, D, and E, or A, B, and E. Or,
the A is always the 1. And then the 2 is the note after that in the scale of A and yeah.
And then if it's like a 2 or a 4, I think those are the minor chords. So I have some concept of some of the stuff, but it's not like second nature for me. I have to think about things.
Let's just play what sounds good. Yeah,
exactly, yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
if it sounds good, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So what's our next one?
I've been trying to play this at open mic a little more. I do it at the acoustic open mics. This is one of my few guitar solos.
Oh, okay.
So if you'll indulge me, and I hope I don't screw it up.
That's okay.
And this is called Alcohol Blues. I wrote this when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
But when I wrote it, there was no guitar solos. It was just all rhythm.
Okay.
When I went in to record this 10 years ago, I'm like, man, I got to work something up for this.
Right. So you're going to throw in some kind of a guitar solo.
Yep.
And still keep the rhythm going.
Well, hopefully.
All right. I'm all for it. Here we go. I'm waiting with a bated breath.
the street, Lordy, who did I see? Here come the devil walking straight at me. He laughed and called me sinner. I said, no, I ain't. He laughed at me again and said, you ain't no saint. Gonna go down with your drinking, down 6 feet under, down to where there's fire and smoke. Your body will turn into ashes, soulless forever. Brimstone's gonna make you choke. Sleeping off the whiskey in my bed that night. An angel come from heaven, call me a miserable sight. He said, you better think again about the hereafter. Then he left, but in my dreams I heard Satan's laughter. Down with your drinking, down 6 feet under, down to where there's fire and smoke. Your body will turn into ashes, your soul lives forever. Brimstone's gonna make you choke. Walking down the street, Lordy, who did I see? Here come the devil walking straight at me. He laughed and called me sinner. I said, no, I ain't. He laughed at me again and said, you ain't no saint. Gonna go down with your drinking, down 6 feet under, down to where there's fire and smoke. Your body will turn into ashes, your soul lives forever. Brimstone's gonna make you choke.
All right.
Very nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
So you can play some guitar.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Thank you for doing some foot, because I was starting to lose the timing on that.
Yeah.
So thanks for giving me something to anchor to.
You know, that was well, number one. You've been holding on me because that song would go over extremely well at any open jam, any open mic. So yeah, you got to start playing that more. And then the other thing was that was a prime example of what we were talking about before, because, you know, here was this blues song, whiskey blues, you called it?
Alcohol
blues. And I'm listening to it and I'm expecting the traditional blues 1-4-5
12 bars.
Yeah,
it's not a 12 bar blues. But that throws guys off at the open mic, because as soon as they hear it, they automatically think this is 12 bar blues.
Right.
And I stay with that E for a long time before I finally change chords.
Right. Yeah, it is not a 12 bar blues, but it has that feel to it.
Right.
And you've got your own little twist to it that makes it a Joe Leja song and doesn't sound like every other blues song that people hear at open jams. So that's prime example.
Again, that's me not knowing music theory and being self-taught. The time I wrote this, I had no idea what a 12-bar blues song was.
Right.
It's a song about alcohol, so maybe it's a 12-bar crawl.
There you go. That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's a 12-bar crawl.
Yeah, it's a 12-bar crawl in the key of what was that?
That was E, A, and B. Yeah, mostly E.
Yeah. There you go. It's a 12-bar crawl in the key of E. I like that.
There you go.
I like that. Man, that was interesting. Yeah, you got to start playing that again.
Yeah, you've never heard that before.
No, I've never heard that song before. I have a feeling we're going to hear a few of them that we haven't ever heard. That was pretty good. I like that one. So that one you wrote when you were 16.
Yes.
I wonder why it is that you hear this a lot. What you're saying here tonight isn't, being said the first time. There's a lot of famous songwriters out there that say the same thing. I picked up the guitar, or I sat down at the piano, or I did whatever, and I wanted to play, but I really didn't know. I knew like 3 or 4 chords. And so instead of trying to play somebody else's music, I just wrote my own music.
Yep. Because nobody knows how it's supposed to sound. So if I screw it up, nobody know,
Yeah.
If I'm trying to play some Clapton, they're going to go, man, he stinks at this.
Yeah. Well, how old were you, or what time was it that you decided that you were going to start recording these things?
That's about 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago is when you started putting everything down in recordings?
Yeah. Back in Chicago, back in the, like I said, late 80s, early 90s, I was recording on a Tascam analog 4-track. It was going nowhere. I didn't know anybody else at that time. I knew Jesse Perez, but he had his band thing going on. And,
right.
I don't know if there even were open mics. That's almost 30 years ago, 35 years ago.
I don't even know if the Uptown Jam was going on 30 years ago. Yeah.
So I actually quit playing for about 10 or 12 years.
Okay.
Moved out to Plainfield. One of my neighbors played guitar. So we started jamming together fairly regularly, and that kind of rekindled, then he kind of put the bug in. Like, he started hearing my originals, like, you should record some of these.
Yeah.
The studio I was at, Cinnamon Sound in Aurora, the owner was in a band. His bass player was dating my niece for a while. Mm-hmm, so that's how I found out about it.
Yeah.
So, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah. Any plans to maybe put together a band and actually start playing these a little more regularly?
I'd like to do a few more solo shows more than I'm doing. I have a lot of health issues. I really don't want to start, I see guys that are playing 3-4 shows a week every week. That would kill me. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I
know how that goes.
This past year, I think I was doing like a show every other month.
Okay.
And that I would like to do a little more than that, but the health issues, besides many other things, I do have congestive heart failure. So that's kind of limits what I can do.
Right. Limits it to like hour performances. And what do you think? And like, instead of every other month, like every couple of weeks,
maybe once a month would probably work okay.
Okay.
And a lot of the shows I did, I split them with other musicians.
Right.
Do half and half.
Sure.
The last show I did in February for my birthday, I did a full 2 hours by myself.
Right.
I was nervous about that. I even told the owner at Black Dog, I was like, I might not be able to make it 2 hours. He said, just go as far as you can go, Right.
But you made it. You're here.
Yes, I
Thank
did.
God. Yeah. Well, I guarantee that you won't, there isn't a shortage of bands or people out there that would play some of your songs for you. There's got to be a, you think about that all the time. There's the national scene where you got singers and you got songwriters. What about the local scene where you have singers and you have songwriters? What about the local guys? Like, they might not be songwriters themselves. They're an original band. They're not songwriters themselves. But then you got the Joe Lejas that could provide them with some of the music.
That's right.
maybe there's an avenue for that.
Come and learn my songs and be my backup band.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about that for a couple of years now, Joe. I think we need to just figure that out. We need to do that. Yeah.
Well, before COVID hit, I did have it back at the old, before the studio was Port Noir.
Yeah, right.
I had a band together called, David Rickard gave us the name Bad Corner Cats.
I remember that. I remember Bad Corner Cats. Yeah.
I was not crazy about that name, but it kind of grew on me after a while. But he goes, just ask the open mic guys to recruit some players. Cause he goes, I don't want you to do a solo show. I want you to be in a band situation. I couldn't have got luckier. I picked like, Wes on lead guitar,
right.
Jerome Walker on bass.
Yeah.
He's one of the best bass players I know still to this day.
Right.
And Jeff Rio on drums.
Oh,
and
geez.
he's an awesome drummer.
Right.
He doesn't show off. He plays to the song. You know, if it's a quiet song, he holds back. If it's a loud song, then he
can play anything.
And he is by far the best drum. No knock at any of the other drummers I know, but to me, he's the best.
Right.
And maybe because he was in my band, maybe I'm partial. You know?
Right. No, he's a good band. It's not just because of that reason. He's a good drummer. So,
but that lasted only for about maybe a year and a half. Then COVID hit, and after we came out of COVID, everybody kind of already had their own things going on.
Yeah.
Wes used to say we're just on hiatus, but I don't know that we would ever perform as a unit again.
Well, why not?
Everybody's busy with their own stuff.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear another song. I'm curious as to what's. I would like to hear actually more than one song, but let's see how much time we have. What else do you have for us?
Do you want the sea shanty?
Yeah. Let's do the sea shanty.
And probably one of the most lyrically, probably the most mature thing that I've written.
Yeah. And
I love that Kiki's learning harmonies on this. And, I just strum the whole thing, but she's picking out notes and stuff. And it sounds wonderful.
I've got to see that when you guys perform, because like I said, we've kind of watched her grow as a musician over the years. When I first met her, I couldn't imagine her playing lead guitar. She was a beginner. She was a very beginner. Now
she still just does guitar. It's not really lead guitar. She's just picking the chords.
Yeah. I love her. I can't wait to see this.
But she's wonderful. She's, like I said, she's got a wonderful voice.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to do that song Friday at Black Dog at the open mic.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know what else. She's got me doing stuff. She's got me stretching out because I had to learn. Somebody thought that because of her voice, she should do Kim Carnes' Betty Davis Eyes.
Oh, wow.
So she learned it, and then she got me accompanying her on guitar. And it's a little different. Like, I'm normally just strumming pretty straightforward, but that's like a...
Yeah, wow.
So that's different and new for me. So
right.
She's making me stretch out a little bit,
Good, excellent. So, all right. Well, let's hear the sea shanty. I call it the sea shanty.
Yeah.
Well, I hear the waves coming in.
Yeah.
This is still drifting away.
Yeah.
A time when we were still friends. We talk and we talk for hours on end, and something must give when two worlds collide. You've moved on and I'm broken inside. You're still drifting away through your lifeline, hoping you'd stay. Tide's gone out from this moonlit bay. You're still drifting away. You'd say that's just life, and I know that it's true. You're drifting away, and I'm turning blue. Once, twice, 3 times going down, and you're drifting away, but I'm the one drowning. You're still drifting away through your lifeline, hoping you'd stay. Tide's gone out from this moonlit bay. You're still drifting away. Was it something I said? Was it something
Sea shanty.
I see.
even the lyrics. I love that song.
Thank you.
So
one of the few songs that I wrote a bridge to.
Yeah.
Usually my stuff is just verse, chorus.
Right.
One of the few things I put a bridge in there.
And I always forget about it when we've played it live because it comes up and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. There's a bridge in this song. Yeah. So that's
one of my favorite shanties.
Yeah.
I hate those lemon shanties and crap. This one I like.
This one, yeah. Yeah, I told you it had that feel to it. So if people want to, and I'm going to ask you to play another one before we sign off, but so you mentioned that your stuff is available on streaming services. Are you on Spotify? Where can they find your stuff?
So the distributor is CD Baby. They've got it. They've got it on Spotify, iTunes, Rhapsody, I think.
Okay.
There's several smaller sites. They got it on about a dozen sites.
Okay.
Some of them are smaller. There's one that's like a Russian streaming site.
Okay.
So my stuff's getting played in Russia.
Yeah. Yeah. So if people want to find you, is it easier for them to go to the CD Baby website, or is it easier just to go to Spotify and put your name in? How do they have
They could go whoever they've got an account with.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, if it's easier for them to just go to Spotify or even the stuff, my stuff's on Amazon also.
Okay. So
anybody that's got what do they call Amazon Prime? I think you get your unlimited downloads and stuff.
Right.
So,
and if somebody wanted to contact you and say, "Hey, Joe, I love this song. I'd like to play it," are you open to that?
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah. Talk.
My only stipulation, you'd have my blessings, but if you start making money off it, I want,
well, of course.
I want at least the basic royalty.
Sure. Right. Well, at that point, you got to get your lawyer and everything involved, and sure. But, so then other than that, just to find you, I mean, you're on Facebook and, people can find you on Facebook and stuff like that and be able to reach out to you that way as well.
And then all the local open mics.
Yeah. Joe
the
goes
studio,
to them.
Black Dog Vinyl Cafe, Sable Creek Winery, Garage Band Brewing, Pub 78 in Brookfield.
All of which we would love to have your sponsorships.
Which, by the way, the winery, they are moving right over by my house. I can literally walk to the new location from
Cool. So I expect to see you there on Wednesday. They only do it one Wednesday a month.
Yeah, right.
I am hoping they would expand on that.
They've got quite a bit of work to do on the building before they open it up because it's an old bank. It's the bank that I banked at for 20 some years, and they decided to close down that location. So they've got to convert this entire bank into a winery. So I can't imagine how long it's going to take. It's not like it's going to be up and running next month.
Right.
So it's going to be a ways out, but I can't wait for that though. So
just a side note on Still Drifting Away. I have no recording of that. I may take another attempt. That song was kind of cursed. I tried 3 different studios. I'm not going to go into details, but something happened every time and it never got recorded.
Well, maybe you can be a guinea pig at the studio next time you perform it.
Long as I'll have Gary on pedal steel, because he's got a little home set up.
Yeah, right.
He recorded my new song.
Right.
And he's got to play pedal steel on. So getting back to the point, though, so I have no recording of that. But we did it at Pub 78 at an open mic. I brought chord charts for him and Kelly. And there used to be a guy, Mike, that came in and played keyboard. So they all had chord charts for the song. We play it. There's a beautiful live version of it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
If you look, search for it. And first time they never heard the song before.
Right.
I gave them the charts. They followed me, and it came out so beautiful.
Wow.
And that just shows how professional and how good they all are.
Right.
To be able to never hear the song and just do an awesome job on it.
So if you go to YouTube and put Drifting Away,
I'll probably type my name in first.
Okay.
Or you probably get it if you type the name of the song.
And get a live version of it with you, and there's a pedal steel and
Gary
keyboard.
and Kelly Ott on bass.
He's playing bass,
and a guy playing piano.
Excellent. Okay.
So it's a really nice.
Yeah.
Seeing that I have no studio recording of it.
Right.
That was like a really great version of it.
Hey.
And I'm thankful for all the musicians I know, yourself included, but I know so many really talented people that I do a lot of acoustic open mics where I'm just up there by myself.
Sure. Yeah.
But when I could have a band behind me and they know the songs,
right.
Sometimes that's just magic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I'd like to get one more, and you can like help us close out the show. I mean, we've teased everybody with Old and Broken Down so much. I was thinking that, but if there's something else you'd prefer to play, that
could do that.
That's fine. But I mean, we've teased everybody with Old and Broken Down. I think that should be our closer.
I wish we had more time. I'd play, 3-4 more songs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you're right, though. You have already mentioned Old and Broken Down.
Yeah.
And
you're listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago Podcast.
This has been an evening with Joe Leja, everybody.
It sure has. Thanks for coming out, Joe.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
We'll see you later.
And there you have it. Mighty Joe.
My friend Joe.
Mighty Joe.
I think you should call him My Friend Joe.
My Friend Joe.
Yeah. That'd be a great solo act. My Friend Joe.
Could be an album.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, My Friend Joe.
Yeah. See what, it's, like I told you, he's a true songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start off doing this to be a performer or anything, okay singer, okay guitar player, but he's a songwriter, and he goes out everywhere he goes. He tells a story, and I've never seen somebody hold an audience in their hand like him. The stories that he tells are great. Yeah. They really are. And it's shocking how many other people are like, hey, Joe, can I play this song? Can I do this song? Yeah. I'm telling you, he has his own business. He could probably sell most of his songs to just local musicians.
Yeah. Well, he said he started when he was 15, 16 playing the guitar. He started writing songs immediately.
Right. He did. Yeah, he did. And they're good songs. It's when I see him out at open jams and other people get on stage with him and back him up, it's like the songs just, become their own. He finally gets to hear them the way he heard them in his own head, just writing them on an acoustic guitar, and they sound fantastic. They really do. He really should keep recording them and see if he can sell them.
Yeah, like the ones he did here tonight. Those were good.
Yeah,
I like the little stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that was a lot of fun. And as usual, thanks for listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast, where you get a new exciting episode every Tuesday. See you next week.
Hey, everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike of the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. If you've been enjoying our weekly program, we have great news for you. Just tune in to Road to Rock Radio on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Time, and you can hear a rebroadcast of one of our past episodes. Then again on Thursdays at 7 p.m., you can hear our most current episode brought to you by the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66.
So go to roadtorock.org, scroll down, and click on Radio Station. That'll bring you to the Road to Rock Radio, a station committed entirely to the great music from Illinois, from Chicago blues born on Maxwell Street to today's rock and roll and everything in between. 24/7, all music with its roots in Illinois.
The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Rock and roll, Chicago. Rock and roll.